Mentoring Matters. I am Kay Corinne. I am so excited about today's video because it is about inspiration. You see, I'm wearing my bright yellow oversized sweater because, for one, yellow is one of my favorite colors and it inspires me. There's just something about that color, it just does it for me. So, again, this is Mentoring Matters. I'm Kay Corinne. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and let me know if you are finding any of this helpful. If it's like, you know what, I knew all of that already. Can you go deeper? Can you get into the weeds of things? I can do that. But for now, I'm just trying to keep everything light and universally true and helpful. Okay? All right, so today's video is about inspiration. So I don't know if people even still say the term muse. When I was growing up as a aspiring author, there was a term in the creative, and when I was growing up, I was just a budding young artist. So was my sister, because we were in dance classes, art classes. My mom read us poetry every night. So we come from, my mom was a dancer and a skater, and she was just this person. She is this person that appreciated the arts, plays, just the exposure that we got as young kids in the 90s, coming from where we were coming from at that time. So I'm originally from the west side of Chicago. And when I was 10, we moved out south, and I grew up on 52nd and Damon. So I always say that I feel like I'm this Chicago hybrid because there are all these west versus south side beefs. And I'm like, like, I grew up out south. I'm from out west. My family still lives out west. If I'm going to any family function, I have to go to the west side. I feel comfortable on the west side, and I also feel the same way. There's no place. And then my father is from the east side, which is technically south, and so we visited him a lot. He was a manager at Dominick's on 71st and Jeffrey the whole time I was growing up. And then we would go to the south side, South Shore Cultural Center for spring breaks, because that was our time with him. And so when people are like, Tarrytown, the east side, I'm like, I grew up there too because my dad was there. So my dad went to Kenwood, my mom went to Orr on the west side. I grew up kind of on the southwest side of Damon because Damon is considered west. Everything west of state is west, but Damon is pretty far west, between Ashland and Western. And so I said, forgive me, guys, because I sometimes I overshare a little bit because my mind just goes in so many directions at once. But we were introduced to the arts early. And in the artistic community, there's this thing called a muse. I don't even know if people talk about muses anymore. But artists naturally have to create. And in order to create, you have to be inspired. And inspiration is not just sitting on your lap. Oftentimes you have to pursue the inspiration. Now, typically it was a person. This person just inspires me. But the nature of inspiration is it really can come from plentiful sources. So for me, when I walk on the trail with my children or by myself and I'm in the forest preserve, there's something that happens to me on a spiritual level where I feel like I am a part of this nature. I'm able to tap into the fresh air, the leaves. I feel like I'm one with the forest. So you hear me? I get in full tree hugging mode. And that's for whatever reason. Nature inspires me. I lived in Arizona for a little while, and I would go climbing, and from the top of that mountain or peak, I would feel so serene, and I would come back and write like 15 pages of this memoir that I intend to publish one day because nature inspires me. I'm also inspired by stories. Like some movies, I'm not a big media person, but historical fiction. When I read stories from like ancient Egypt or from a different place in the world, African folklore. I won't say that that's fiction, but I'll say things with a magical undertone. I like magicians. I like the supernatural. I like fantasy. I did watch all the Game of Thrones in real time. So that's kind of like the signature of the nerd out. When it first aired, I was sitting there watching it on HBO. This was like back in 2010, because I like things that are beyond what we can see in the here and in the now. Those things inspire me. So we got nature. We have stories and tall tales and castles, and those things really do it for me, as well as natural stories. The Pursuit of Happiness is one of my favorite films as well. And I think I mentioned on another video, The Last Dragon. So also tales of people finding themselves and overcoming adversity. Those things do something personal for me. Also, I was about to say, also, I am really inspired by, well, I don't know if that is considered inspiration. Well, it is. It is, because it raises my mood. Live music. There is something about, and I'm not going to say concerts, because sometimes concerts have a famous connotation. A concert means this person is established, they're touring, they are promoting their album and songs that we're all familiar with. But I like live music from local bands, is what I'll say. It's just something about the vibration of the speaker, the drums. Oh my goodness, just the way a person's voice melts over those beats in live time, where you can still hear them, and you're just in this in-depth sensory experience with music that you can hear and see and feel. It's just, I walk out of spaces like that ready to write 10 poems, you know. So I am aware of what inspires me. Stories, live music, nature, certain individuals. When I see or hear them speak, I'm like, you cold. I need to get like you. So the first part about this video or this lesson is learn what really inspires you. What does it for you? Well, yeah, what really does it for you? How do you get in your zone to be the best version of yourself? I know I started with a creative template, but it's really not about being a creative. It's about being and walking an inspired life. So also, Ashanti posted some pictures in a bathing suit, and honey, I'm like, let me go get on my workout bike. What am I doing? Ashanti was maybe 20 or so when she came out, and I was still a teenager. So I think Ashanti may be about 5 years older than me, honey. And the way that she slayed that swimsuit, I'm like, oh my goodness. I know I've been barely doing 5 minutes a week on this. I know I've barely been doing 6 minutes a week, honey. But this week, I'm doing 40 minutes a day on this exercise bike. And then I'm going to get off and do my squats, because those images inspire me, because it keeps reminding me what's possible. Sometimes when we've exited the 20s and the early 30s, we inherently feel like we're in a different lane now. We're moms. Some of us who started early have adult children. In our late 30s, early 40s, the metabolism has slowed down. It's a little harder to fight that battle of the bulge. There can be some challenges with feeling beautiful, with feeling worthy. Sometimes you forget those old adages that we're supposed to get better with time, like fine wine. Sometimes we don't buy into that. And so seeing her looking so breathtaking, so confident, age where? She looked ageless. She looked timeless. And that was an inspiration to me to jumpstart my fitness plan. So, but the thing is, sometimes the inspiration will fall into your lap, like the Ashanti pictures, but 98% of the time, you're gonna have to go out and grab that inspiration. That's like part of your job. what can I do to inspire myself this week? What can I do to inspire myself this season? What can I do to inspire myself this year, this day, this last hour of work? I'm ready to punch out. How do I make it so this last hour is not miserable, but that I'm ending it with a bang? Where does my inspiration lie? And how do I tap into it? That's going to be a major tool, because yes, you have to be disciplined, but what they won't always say is the discipline is still going back to the inspiration. There was something that you were so inspired about that your discipline is like, I know you don't feel like it today, but we got to keep going. But discipline cannot live independently, not sustainably, in my opinion. You're gonna have to find those things that just rile you up, get you in your zone, make you feel like you could go harder, or not even harder, like you can go better. You can be more productive. You can be more evolved. You can demonstrate more growth. You can have a better experience. All that. And all you have to do is, one, get to know yourself, because when you know you, you won't only know what pisses you off. You won't only know your triggers. You do need to know that stuff. You won't only know those things. You'll also know, I'm in a bad mood today. I need to take a walk. You'll know how to inspire yourself, how to remedy lower vibrations. You'll know how to pull that stuff back up to where it needs to be for your optimal life. That's all it's all about. I'm gonna keep saying it's about optimizing your life. We have a finite amount of time here. And how do you want to spend that time? So I come from a church background, though I'm no longer religious. As many people say, I would consider myself spiritual. I see truth in all the major religions. There's something that resonates with me with all of them, and there are similarities amongst all of them. And so I've chosen not to choose at this point in my journey. But most of my time spent in religion was in Christian religion, and so I know my Bible pretty well. I definitely did grow up in the church, and one of the proverbs I find really powerful are the ones on stewardship. Stewardship is how you take care of something. How do you manage something? If I give you $100, are you stewarding that money well? If I give you an apartment, are you taking good care of it? If you are given children, you are blessed to have children. What kind of steward are you of your parenting? So stewardship is pretty much management. How are you handling what you have? Are you squandering it? Are you being careless? Are you ungrateful? You know, what are you doing with what you have? So the biggest thing that you have is an opportunity to live. The opportunity to have a life here on planet Earth. You exist, and you have a certain amount of time to exist. What are you going to do with it? You want to optimize it so that it is as rewarding and beneficial and enjoyable and noteworthy, because it won't all be enjoyable, and noteworthy and powerful and as impactful as possible. That is what we're looking to do. We're looking to have a life that we were a good steward over. We were given 50 years. We were given 70 years. We were given 80. This is what we did with it. And there's another quote that says, when you come back to God, this is not in the Bible, when you meet your maker at the end of your days, they say, well, what do you have left of your talents? I don't have anything left. I used everything you gave me. And I actually heard that from a documentary called Stan. Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, I hope I'm saying it right, was a basketball player, and he pretty much got blackballed because of his Muslim beliefs. But the way that opportunities came to him from being aligned with self after he was blackballed, after his career was kind of like pulled from underneath him, and he had nothing. He said he was flat broke. Somebody came to him, and this is the power of alignment. Not that you don't have to go out there and get it on your own, but there is power in alignment. He stayed true to himself, and when he thought all his financial success was depleted, somebody came to him. Hey, how much would you charge to train? He said he didn't even know how much to charge or what his training system would look like. But it came to him, and then he did a speaking engagement back in YouTube's infancy. Somebody recorded it, didn't get his permission, didn't tell him, it went online and it went viral, and then he started getting requests for speaking engagements. And all the while, all he was doing was being his organic self, tapped into his higher calling and purpose and the seat of the soul, and being aligned to his seat of the soul. The KKK burned down his house, and when he was interviewed, he said this just shows how far we have to go regarding human relations. Huh? If a mic come into my face and my house is burned to the ground, talking about how far we need to come as a people, whoo, that's not going to be on my mind. I'm not there yet, but it just was an extremely inspiring documentary. I believe it's on Showtime. And again, it's called Stand, because the original issue that he had was, well, the issue that they tried to put on him is that he wasn't standing for the national anthem. And then when he started standing, he did so while praying to his God, Allah. But I just say that to say that many people thought that he was a fool and that he squandered his talent by being authentic, but he was inspired by the teachings of Islam. Again, that inspiration led to him being a good steward of his human experience and be true to himself. And because of that, he remained in alignment and is successful to this day. So what it is that inspires you, it doesn't matter. But you have to be intentional about tapping into it, harnessing it, and then using that inspiration to be an awesome steward of this time you have been gifted with on earth. We will never be here again. It will never be this time, this date again. 10 seconds ago, it'll never be that time again. Like, does that make sense? Like, we'll never be in this moment in time again. This moment that you're watching this video, you'll never be in this moment again. This moment is about to pass. So what did you do with even this moment? Were you open? Did you need to take some notes and did so? Are you going to get up after this video is over with and pursue something inspirational and be the best version of you? I hope so. I really hope so. So that's all I have for you all today. Just be inspired, seek inspiration, and do the right thing when you get that inspiration. And only you know what that right thing is. Our next video is going to be a little closely related to inspiration. It's going to be on creativity and how to harness and operate in a creative spirit no matter what your line of work is. I almost got into it on this video, but I managed to stay focused on inspiration. Again, I'm Kay Corinne. This is Mentoring Matters. Like, share, subscribe, and thank you for being in community with me.